overlooking the Barragarang Valley, and it is rather an historic day because it is the 16th of December 1988, and today is the official closing of the Wallandilly Extended Colliery. The Barragarang Valley lies approximately 95 kilometres by road southwest of Sydney and 35 kilometres west of Camden. It is over 80 kilometres in length and varies in width from under 3 kilometres to over 16 kilometres. Geologically, the history of the Barragarang Valley is of interest. The lapse of time since the streams cut their erosion paths through the sandstone cliffs can only faintly be imagined, for between 460 and 820 metres of strata have been removed vertically, as well as 3.5 kilometres to 17.5 kilometres horizontally in width. The rivers cut their way through the Triassic sandstones and shales, through the rocks forming the Carboniferous series. What was washed away included millions of tonnes of good coking coal, which has been washed out into the Pacific. The floor of the valley now rests on granite of a very early days. If you look south-westerly direction from Warragamba Lookout, the story of the ages presents itself with the rim of the basin located at the head of the valley and massive sedimentary deposits indicated by walls and sides of the valley, ever thickening in a northeasterly direction until underfoot at Sydney they are estimated to be 6,000 to 9,000 metres deep. Before the advent of white man, Barragarang was a favourite camping and hunting ground for Aboriginals of the area. The name Barragarang is derived from the native name of Barru for kangaroo, which abounded on the fertile flats adjoining the Wallandilly River. In his memoirs, William Russell, the chief man of the Gundungera tribe, who died in 1914 at the age of 84, made reference to this when he stated, "As a young Kubel, a boy, I camped with my people on the big flat which was then called Barragarang. Barru was kangaroo, and it meant a place of plenty of food." Today, the Warragamba Dam fills the lower part of the valley and involves 4.5 times the volume of water in Sydney Harbour. The word Warragamba is also an Aboriginal word, which means Warra for tea tree and Gomba for swamp. Warragamba, tea tree swamp. A winding road makes access into the valley now possible by heavy coal trucks, but at one time it was a difficult and torturous route for the horses and the horse teams, which had to more or less jump over cliffs, as they called one spot the jump up, and a steep shelf of rock had to be negotiated. Fortunately, the day is rather damp and a lot of misty rain surrounds the valley, which makes it rather difficult for good photography. Coal was first discovered by the early geologists in the 1800s, and reports were made, such as the find at Moores Creek, which revealed a 2-metre seam of coal, round about 9.5% ash. The first coal was mined at Wallandilly Colliery about 1930, and later on the coal mine was developed at the Wallandilly Extended Colliery in 1947. The advent of the power line into the Barragarang made mechanisation possible, and Wallandilly Extended became the first mechanised trackless coal mine in Australia. The first conventional mining units consisted of coal cutters, 11 BU loaders and battery shuttle cars. The battery shuttle cars were later replaced by cable reel shuttle cars in about 1956. In 1958 the waters of the Warragamba Dam started to rise and all the roads through the valley were closed. In 1960 a preparation plant was built at the top of the valley. The official closure is being held at the old Wollondilly Extended Bathroom, which later became known as the Nattai North Mine. Some of the old hands are here today, and it will be good to get amongst them and speak to them. The sandstone cliffs rise approximately 1,000 feet above the coal seam, and the now Nattai North Bathroom is nestled beneath the cliffs. Many old faces are here today. Some of them are the sons of the early miners who helped develop the Wollondilly Extended, which became later known as the Nattai North Mine, and now these men have finished their term at the Nattai North Mine. The original bathroom was round about 2.5 kilometres back up the road towards Nattai Post Office, and then in the early 1950s the current bathroom, which we're now photographing, was built. With the reduction of hands, it appears that they've taken some of the lockers out and put the lamps in. Makes it convenient for the men to take their lamps off and put them on again at the start and completion of shifts, and then just hop straight into the shower room. Many a ton of dirt and coal has been washed off the backs of the miners at the end of the shift. Many miners called the 10 minutes under the shower the best part of the day. I recall one old miner here. He was a resident of the valley, Barney Coyle by name. Well, Barney never ever washed his back, and if you observed him in the shower, his back was sometimes as black as the coal face. We often wondered how he got on with the sheets on the bed at home with his wife. Maybe they didn't have sheets in the early days. This brings to mind one occasion when the miners were in the shower recess, soap in their eyes and all lathered up, and someone threw a 6-foot carpet snake down amongst them and yelled out, "Snake, snake!" Well, there were arms and legs going in all directions. Naked miners covered in soap, climbing over the top of one another trying to escape on the slippery floor. And we ended up having 2 compo cases out of it. This is the smaller deputies and staff change and shower room. An operation was planned while the deputies and staff were under the shower here, perhaps passing on information to those coming on the following shifts, briefing them as to the situation as applied in the section that they were about to go to. some of those still that were still working at the mine.
Yeah, it's the last of the shuttle cars. 32 million tons of gold over. A little bit of gold in that place. Two continuous miners to go. Second miner of the hole. Room to spare, I need to say. The shuttle cars. Gap on the other side, I think. I'll look for
Day's work.
Very sad. I'd like to see some of the old boys here now, giving us a hand. Mates like John Riley and Chicken Reeves. You know, Jimmy McGlynn and Basil Devitt. Basil and Jimmy McGlynn. They taught me everything I knew about this bricklayer.
The old Baz, eh? How is he?
He's still going, he's pretty blind.
Oh dear.
Poor old Jimmy McGlynn, he's got arthritis in both knees, he's a bit buckled.
Yeah.
Poor old Chick, he was pretty well buckled up when he went.
Yeah.
Oh, it's one of
Well, today is the 12th of January 1889. It's rather a sad day. Here we see two of the Nattai North miners,
Freddie Barris and Ray Penny.
Freddie Barris and Ray Penny, laying the last of the the brick stoppings right at the tunnel mouth of the travelling road. In a way, it's a bit like a burial service. And they say ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So the old mine is sealed up forever. But it's been a very good operation, operated for 41 years. One of the most highly productive mines in Australia. Always had very good industrial relations, a very high OMS and a very high calibre of workforce. So the concrete blocks go into place, one after the other. And the wall goes up to seal it off.
Good on you, Bob. The only way we can get him to do anything.
As usual, the deputies at Nattai North hop in and throw their weight in on the job. Bob Medley, the deputy, is giving them a switch up, handling a few bricks.
Cutting red. This is how you measure the bricks. Real quick. We might work ourselves out of the job here, quick, Red. I wish we was just starting this pit. She's been a good old cow. And she's run right. This job used to be in the Federation. Jim was here as a manager. And when they closed one until they extended and reopened it, those blokes from over that bull just around the corner here come over and changed the name of the pit. And they put the brickwork into the cold mechanics. So it's good to see a couple of feds and the deputy finishing the last But our great old mate Johnny Jordan, deceased now, he always said he'd be here to put the last brick in the place, and he was the president of the Colliery Mechanics. He went on as general president here. Well, we've got enough bricks in the way. Well, we didn't have another 12 months here with the bonus we made here last year. But what was it? If he wasn't here this year, they were trying better that. And, which I'm pretty well sure we could have, you know what I mean? Every year we just got better and better, and you know what I mean, we made more money, we got more coal out, you know?
What was the final bonus, Bob?
The final bonus was $1,400 and something odd dollars, yeah?
$1,400 odd dollars. Well,
that was for 1 week.
Yes, that was the bull week, the final week before Christmas, eh?
Yeah, no, that was, yes, that was bull week, and actually last week was a shade under $1,000, which we only worked 4 days in that week.
Right.
And it was $970 odd dollars or $80 odd dollars. Because they
For a 4-day week?
Yep, for a 4-day week.
Yeah.
They finished us up a week early, Jim. We ran out of coal.
Right.
So that's when we had our big bull week, but then we more or less had 2 bull weeks. $1,400 one and then $1,000 the other.
You know, months before we finished, we were still sitting on, you know, $400, $500, $600 a week with no trouble. Even lines, $800, $700 a week bonus. Which you'll never, I doubt very much if you ever find it again in the valley or anywhere.
I guess many a home was paid off from this mine and many a car.
Yeah, my oath, Jim. I've been here 25 years, and I bought a few new cars out of them, and two houses, and a bit of land.
Well, that's good.
You're not the end of the level, Red. It's the spin one, mate.
I used to say to the young fellas that started at the mine, that most of them were working for either Ford or GMH. They just about used all their pay up to invest in their cars.
Yeah, you see the young fellas, I remember when Brimstone 1 started. We were coming down here, then we wasn't making much money. We were probably getting about $50 a week bonus. When Brimmy 1 was getting $100. That's a fair while ago, that's back in the early 70s. And we'd come to the Oakdale turn up there, we'd have to come through, we had old bomb cars, and they were flying around the corners of brand new holes and narrows, and souped up Fords, and tyres as wide as 3 foot wide, some of them.
They told me when I worked at Nattai that we were on the best bonus system in the valley. And I never ever made any money there. I come over here, they told me I'm on the worst bonus system in the valley, and I've never earned so much money in my life.
Well, that sounds in a way a type of contradiction, but you know what it means, and it meant something to you, eh?
Yeah. Well, it just goes to show if you pitch in and have a go, you can stand to make some money. If you, it wouldn't matter what sort of bonus system you got, if you're going to have a go, you'll make money. If you're not going to have a go, well, you brick them up like this. I'm not here for the money. We're not down here because we love it.
If we could get a job like this outside the same money, but we'd be in the fresh air.
Walter Smart, the former president of the Southern District of the Federation, he had a saying that meant a lot. He said, my men don't come to work to wear out their old clothes.
Yeah. Well, I'll bet might even throw ours away when this is finished.
Another one of Walter's sayings was, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But then I remember another wag that said, if you lead a dozen horses to water, one of them's sure to drink.
Yeah, well, I bet you've seen a few horses going in and out here too, Jim.
Yes.
Little Frankie Clout and then like he used to tell me about Dookie Norris and Blake with his skips. Frankie said he lost his finger trying to sprag a skip going down this tunnel mouth.
Right.
But at the same time, mate, we made big money. Like you can rest assured the company made big money out of this place too.
I can remember Big Dookie Norris, Ronnie Norris, used to pick Frankie up and rock him in his arms. Rockabye baby.
Yeah, that Dookie and Chick are a funny bit of buggers.
Yeah. Always up to some prank. Good sense of humour. I think that was one of the big assets of this pit. Most of the fellas had a sense of humour. Could take a joke and they could give one back in return as well.
They might throw us a double for getting this up extra quick, Red, do you think? Hey?
Yeah, I have to go and see Dennis Smith. See if Dennis will pay us a doubler.
After this wall's put up, a second wall will be put up just out by of it, and then it will be filled with concrete. So it'll be a solid lid acting as a tombstone. I hope they put some inscription on it as well.
Yes, it'd be good to put something on the wall, the last floor. If they're going to push it in this little rock in front of the wall, then it won't tear the wall.
Right.
It'll just look like the original old mountain looking finish.
Grassed over and covered with trees. I guess someone will come along in 100 years' time and they'll might find a piece of concrete or a piece of steel and they'll say, well, I wonder what was in this site some years back.
I'll probably reopen it eventually to get some of the relics out of it, put in museums or something. Old labourers there would come in handy to someone in a museum.
Oh, no, the intention is to build a museum at Nattai, an open air museum.
Well, they've got a lot of old stuff in the pit. A lot of old battery cars and a lot of old machinery, getting the old returns, old workers and that.
Right.
But I was saying to Bob,
The zigzag flights of the mountain conveyor belt elevate the coal up over the cliff face. It's also a rather sad day for Dennis Smith, the current manager of the area, Nattai Bulli and Nattai North collieries. And Dennis is just overseeing the last final operations today. This is the original fan conveyor tunnel, and ventilation was by a wooden aeroplane propeller, driven by a small 20 horsepower motor and 3 V-belts. The mission was upgraded with the installation of 111-inch Richardson axial flow fans. Provided quite good ventilation for this colliery over many years. There, you've got to get the thing off the front.
You spoke up his dog. We got the info, I've got to buy the video of that.
One of the best times of the day is crib time, when the miners complete the first part of their shift and they sit down at their crib table and enjoy a cup of tea and whatever else Mum has prepared for them. I think these guys today might have turkey. You're getting on the outside of something pretty good there.
Dennis didn't bring it over. I thought he would have brought us some prawns and some lobster.
No, tomorrow. He's doing the month tomorrow. I'll in and out of it. Not leaving out anyway.
Well,
those 14 years, mate, you've always wanted to be number one, and now you are.
number one fitter.
24 years.
Number one fitter, number one electrician, number one deputy. Well, sometimes second with Ray.
So 5 of the men in the final team have one of their last cribs at Nattai North. A well-earned crib at that too, after working hard at that brick stopping. An IMCO diesel front-end loader. Performed very many operations in the Nattai North mine. And there we have the travelling road tunnel mouth, which is now being bricked up. So no more will miners pass through this entrance to the coalface. Over the years, some reasonably large rocks have been released from the massive cliff face above the Nattai North Colliery, part of the natural process of weathering, and at times some boulders have come perilously close to operating centres at the pit top. As a matter of fact, we can see in this shot a bend in a 24-inch girder which was hit by a boulder many years ago in the workshop. Others who have retired and now come down. It's great to see some of the old faces. John Doherty, the Chief Executive of Cleveland, is about to address the meeting.
Well, Rex, thanks very much, and good morning, gentlemen. Just this fella you got here is one of the most level-headed blokes at Nattai North, and we've known that for years. What's he done? He's put me just in front of the most appropriate. Thanks, there were very good words you said about us all there. It's strange you didn't say about me what you said about Jimmy, you know, doing nothing up at Lithgow. But the great thing is you blokes have been doing so much. Today, it must be my Irish background that makes me think it's a happy day, just like you think it's a happy day. Because I think wakes are the sorts of things, and at least in that sort of part of the Christian religion that the Irish are interested in, they're always very enjoyable. They don't get sad when the death process comes about, and that's really how it ought to be. Nattai North, interestingly enough for me, is exactly the same age as I am. It started on the 2nd of November 1936 and it finished when? 16th of December 1988. And that's really 52 years and 1 month. And by sheer coincidence, I happen to be the same age as the mine. But I've never worked with you. Just briefly about the history for those who like statistics. In 1936, when it started, the owner was a Mr. Fox. We assumed that Mr. W. Fox was the father of Stan Fox. And for some reason, a few years later, 1940, the ownership transferred to Mr. Garside, and we haven't researched why that happened, because all of us, I think Stan Fox owned the pit until it moved into the Ludwig days, then into the BP days, on the RTZ days. The first manager was a Mr. Headley, followed by a Mr. Smith, a Mr. Scarlett, Mr. Fletcher, Mr. Williams. Sorry, I don't know their first names. I guess in those days, of course, we used to tip our brow and call them Mr. They used to all wear ties underground, didn't they? So things have changed a bit since then. But when we started really as Wallandilly Extended, which was back that way. And it was only in 1947 or thereabouts, and Harry Nolan tells me that was about the date. Harry, I think probably our oldest mine worker with us today. Good on you, Harry. He's around somewhere. Where's Harry? And Harry says 1947 we put in the new entrance which we now call Nattai North. And Jimmy Brown was almost the first manager in 1952, and he was Harry recording our sins on the last day. And then some of you might start to remember, well, Jimmy, you know, Matt Rundle, Wally English, Dennis Smith, Roger Hughes, and then followed by Steve Bracken, John Morphew, Dennis Smith. Interesting, Dennis Smith was with us back in 1950 and 1980 rather, and now he's closing the mine. Well, what a great 52 years. 35 million tonnes, and of course you started off as the little pit, then you became the big pit, and then finally the premier pit. Just like the number plates in New South Wales, when the premier pit closes, they take the premier straight off the number plates. Well, it really has been a great 52 years. As Rex said, certainly in my time within Clue, the Nattai North has been the premier pit. You've done better than all the other pits. You've produced more income for the company. You've produced more income for yourself. Maybe there's something in that fact. And what I'd like to say is that I know all of you within the next 3 or 4 weeks will be going primarily to Brimstone, maybe a person to Oaktown. The 3-year-old bitch Nattai Bulleye, which is a bit older than you are. Nattai Bulleye's about 4 years older. Nattai Bulleye's pretty stable as it's running now, but Oakdale and Brimstone are coming up in tonnage. And what we're really looking forward to at Brimstone, because most of you I know are going there, we look forward to seeing you turn Brimstone around. Now, I couldn't say that with the Brimstone blokes here. What I know is that fundamentally the Brimstone blokes are just like you and me, but for some reason they just seem to like living in a world of great conditions and great everything. It really is a good bit. It's not as difficult as yours, but it just doesn't get the OMEs and the bonuses and so on. So I want to say to you, please, you have a go at it, and the company will support you 100%, because I can't see there's any real difference between your approach and the company's approach. We're at one. And therefore I can't quite understand why the Brimstone blokes don't see it the way you do. Because it seems to me that they're denying themselves the right to maybe own a second and a third house, maybe even invest in someone like Rothwell's if they can afford to.
Get your comrade, Oakdale with me, the Premier Kid Oakdale.
So that's a challenge. I know you'll be over to accept it, and we'll be supporting you over there. And well, we think Brimstone's of course going to be the biggest producer next year. The market side of things, everything's going pretty well. It's hell with the Australian dollar. Those of you who want to go overseas at the moment do so because it's cheap tourism. All I can say is I hope like hell it becomes expensive in the next year so our prices go up in Australian dollars. But I think in the next few weeks you'll probably be reading about price increases that we've won with the Japanese. Well, let me tell you, when you see them, you'll probably say, Christ, I wish we had a marketing authority because they're bloody awful. But the press will paint it up as something good. It really isn't as good as it's going to be. In fact, all it does is it takes us back to where we were 18 months ago in Australian dollar terms. So things are still a bit rough out there on the marketing front. But don't worry, we're going to survive. We're the best group in the country in that sense. Utah may be better because it does make money, but we'd be second best after Utah. And we're going to keep it that way. Changes in shifts and so on, I know you're talking about all those things. I hope we can come to an agreement in the next few weeks about the rearrangement of hours. All of us individually will have problems with it. I suppose it's the old bit that you'll need changes on the way. But anyhow, having said that, what's more important is to celebrate 52 years at Nattai North, celebrate it on Christmas Eve with New Year to follow. All of that, I think, wonderful enjoyment for you and your family. But before you leave today, before I leave today, would you and I join in giving 3 cheers to all those at Nattai North, all those who've retired with the ship. 3 cheers to Nattai North and to all of you who've made it so successful. Hip hip! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! To Nattai North. What a great
Stick it out.
Jim Brown.
Well, thank you very much to you and the men for a great contribution to the company's welfare and the company's survival. Very pleased. We're really very proud of you all.
Place it right down
You're one of the early managers. Good for you. Thank you, John. And Dennis, you didn't come forward.
Listen, if you don't know it's your manager, he's walked in a bit late, but he is your manager.
Well, you've seen the ship through, and the great thing is it hasn't foundered on you. Congratulations to you.
Turn around, Dennis.
Don't be so shy, mate.
I'm not shy.
What about saying goodbye to us?
Listen, righto, chap.
Let me just say something. I wasn't going to say anything. I said, no, I don't want to say anything at all. Because it's not my style. In fact, this fella knows I don't say anything. But I'd like to say thank you for your effort. And it's been awfully nice working for you. Awfully nice.
Working for it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you, Dennis. Have you been happy with the pay, righto, Jim Brown. I'd like to say a few words.
Well, thank you very much, John, Rex, Sandy, and all the fellas. I received a real pleasure out of the invitation to come here today. And, you know, this valley has been kind to me. It has meant a lot to me. I guess I've spent a fair part of my life in the valley. And it has also been kind and a pleasant place for many of you fellows to work in, I'm sure of that. I know during my stint in the valley here I had very pleasant relations and good friendships with all the miners, and it meant a lot. And you know, some thoughts that occurred to me today, just on the funny side. I like dealing with the lighter side of life, and I was thinking as I come in this old bathroom here, George Beard used to be the bathroom attendant here for, I suppose, 18 years, and one day I came to the mine and George said, well, he said, I'm down in the mouth today, Jim. I said, what's the problem? Well, he said, I bought a block of land along Stevie Forest Road at Oakdale. Out that I cleared the wrong block of land. I said, don't worry, George, you'll have to get these blokes in the pits to dig a bit more coal and pay for the next one. So there's been very many pleasant episodes. You know, I can think of, say, little Frankie Clout. There used to be some strong young fellows work at this mine here. I can think of Ronnie Norris and Ronnie Russell. Remember Dookie Norris, as they used to call him. He used to pick little Frankie Clout up in his arms, and Frank would be waving arms and legs in all directions trying to get out. He'd say, rockabye baby on the treetop. And when it was a bit high, you'd pick young Frankie up. He said, here, put that pack in the gratis up there, Frank. We had a lot of many pleasant, you know, occasions, and very many pleasant things to look back on. The same young chap, Frank Clout, he was reasonably strong in his own right, although he wasn't very big. So one occasion we brought a chap from the Department of Industrial Relations down here, or Labour and Industry I think it may have been, to give the miners a demo in how to lift crops correctly so they wouldn't strain their crops at their back. So he picked a couple of fairly big crops out, and he picked on the smallest chap in the group, which was young Frank. And he said, Frank, he said, show these men how you lift the crop. So Frank did everything wrong. He bent right over like a crane with his back and picked the prop up and threw it on his shoulder. And he said, now that's wrong. You shouldn't do it that way. And the boy says, right-o, show us how you do it. Well, Mr. Featherweight, he became known as lift the prop. And there was a moment of embarrassment and the boys gave 3 cheers. Talking about Ronnie Norris, Ronnie met me on the pit top one day and he said, we've got a triple board in there, Jim. And he said, there's about 18 inches of water in it. He said, give us an hour's overtime and I'll cut it for you. I said, righto, Ron. I said, on one condition, that you don't take that old Samson coal cutter in with if the water is over the tracks. Don't take it in if it's anywhere near the motor. Righto, Jim, and off he went. I thought, I better follow this character up. So I wandered in the pit, and here's Dookie. He's standing on top of the Samson coal cutter with the water right up to the top of the machine. He's bending over, operating the controls backwards, and the cutter was going through the face, cutting this triple board. Well, I said, get that machine out there, for goodness sake, Ron. Oh, I thought I'd have a cut and blown down before you got here. You know, over the days when we used a lot of explosives up here, I can remember we used 120 cases of fracture every week. And the blue truck drivers would pick it up from Canberra Railway Yard, and I would lecture them. Now look, you've got boxes of detonators there. Now don't mix them here. If you've got to take them out at the magazine down here, take the detonators out first. Well, I just was in time one day to see the hoist going up, detonators and all coming out. Talking about explosives, we had one chap here, we had to put anyone on that could get a ticket for a deputy's ticket for shot firing. Actually, we had to try and train some of them on the job. And so I got the bright idea, we didn't have any gas in the pit, of course, so we had a powder box with the acetylene coming out the torch, and they could test for gas in this, you know, with the methane. Well, Bertie Mills thought he'd try it without the doors in the lamp. Boom! He lost his hair. On the same bloke, Bertie Fields, he stuttered. A lot of you blokes would remember him, Chicker and Harry and all, he would stutter. He came from Glen Davis, and when the Glen Davis blokes first came down here, we knew they were in the habit of smoking at the West, of course, and so we lectured them, don't smoke here. So I went into the return one day and I could smell the smoke, and here I come up in a cut through, and here's Bertie, and he quickly stifled it out, and he was stuttering. He was trying to get out that it was stuffy or foggy. He couldn't pronounce the word foggy. He said, it's a get it out your pocket, get it out your pocket. He never ever did get the word out. That cost Bertie £5 to Camden Hospital, as it did a lot of other blokes. So I think Camden Hospital in those years thought that the Burragoreen miners were very generous. A lot of donations. They have to pay their £5 before they get back to work next day. Anyway, Bertie, when he was firing a shot in the boards, the blokes used to take them off, but he had trouble with that, as I said. And so he'd connect the shot up and get back to the source where he was firing it, and he'd say, bang! He'd just never get it out. Ah, there we go, the joke. Right. Oh, yes. There's the giant quiet red. Well, young Bert, old Bert, was it? He started on the mountain conveyor excavation up here in 1959, 1960. And he had a bright idea that he'd get this hemp rope and tie it around this boulder and give it a pull with a couple of chaps and let it roll down the mountain, which he did successfully. And they got it to the edge of the scarp, and like it started to roll, but old Bertie made the mistake. He was still standing with one leg inside the coil of rope. And he said, look out, look out! Next minute, Bertie's come down. Oh, in a rod.
Here I come.
Well, let's say this, that the Burragoreen's been a happy place, and it's mined a lot of coal, and the companies have been good to work with, and I've made some very friendly acquaintances over the years, and I'll never forget it. Thanks very much for all you've done for us.
Just 1 minute. When Rick started off, he thanked everybody here for his support while he was down at the district job, and then again while he was here. I think it's only fitting that we, in appreciation, give Rex a little something in appreciation for us, for what he's done for us. Because we've made a lot of money here, I think only because of his attitude that we're better off with negotiation rather than confrontation. And that's what's really made money for us here. Everything's been settled in the office, and it's probably taken bloody hours by the time it got done. Rather than us walking off the job and then have to come back either winning or losing, we've done it here at the job. And that's been a big thing, and it takes someone that knows what they're doing. And it's only through experience and the likes of someone like Rex that we've been able to manage that. So, the appreciation from the people here, Rex, I'd like to stick with that. Thanks very much.
That's a very pleasant surprise, and I appreciate that very much, chaps. And the only other thing I want to say that I failed to say before is that I want to wish you all the very, very best when you go to Oakdale and Brimstone, and I think there's a couple down in Nattai as well. I wish you all the best there. I hope you have a long and happy existence of those collieries, and work safely, and may your families prosper, and you, and all the best for Christmas. Thank you.
This shot depicts the rugged massive cliff faces which are exposed in the Burragorang Valley. Here we see Moores Creek and the waterfall coming into the valley over the cliffs, and up exposed in the side of the cliff face you can see the original coal seam which was sampled by J.E. Kahn in 1903. It was at this spot later that Stan Fox opened a handwork contract mine, pick and shovel mine, and he started in this position here with tabletop trucks, no tippers, and the coal had to be shovelled off the trucks to the suppliers. Later on in 1947, the same man opened up the Wallandilly Extended Colliery further around the cliff face. The Wallandilly Extended Mine was the first fully mechanised trackless coal mine in Australia, and the coal seam is opened up by tunnels in the outcrop 930 feet above sea level. The waters of the Warragamba Dam at high water level are 383 feet above sea level. In 1960, a coal preparation plant was built on the plateau level above the valley, and a flight of 6 conveyor belts elevated the coal 1,000 feet to the washery above. A rather novel arrangement was constructed to act as coal storage bins for the mine in 1947. They were utilising the graving docks, the caisson sections from the graving docks in Sydney Harbour. Mountain conveyor belts are also utilised for the handling of coal from Nattai Colliery. Coal is transported by a road about 1.5 kilometres, and it is dumped into a bin and goes onto the elevating mountain conveyor belts to the washery. Here we see the last of the coal that was mined from the Nattai North Colliery in 1988. After 41 years from the opening of the mine, the last of the coal came down these chutes onto the conveyor and onto the coal dump. The conveyor belt system coming out of the tunnel, which operated for so many years, 41 years, has now been dismantled, or is in the process of being dismantled. Sited on the edge of the embankment, just under the massive cliff faces. There is the travelling road tunnel mouth, which so many men were in.
Worse for wear now, all the windows are busted and the whole thing. And gee, I'd like a quid for every time I've walked in and out of that place. And just do a pan around inside. It just sounds a bit hollow in here, Bron. There was almost a party atmosphere in here, quite. Just have some fun in here. This is all that's left of the old deli. From around the store, and I'll give it a full pan. It's where the belt head used to be, drive head. Offices. First aid cabin and workshop. Back to the tunnel mouth. People having a look in the old store. I wouldn't have been able to get down here without Brian's help. Today is a very special day. We're down Bogarang Valley at the old dump, and we're about to see the last little bit of coal go up the mountain that'll ever go out of the valley. With the conveyor, they've had to go down in the pit underneath the bins to release the tail roller. Looks like it's all full of gunk. So they'll fix it up and they'll get it mobile again. The last final bit of a clean up now. They just take the coal from around the base of the bin. They've taken the sides out of the bins, and they just take the coal now, clean up, and put it inside the bin into the chute, and it'll go up the mountain belt then. That'll go down the chute now on the conveyor. And there up to the wash room.